Hello and welcome to Not My Usual Read, a couples book exchange podcast. I'm Charlie,
And I'm Jenny.
and this is going to be the second part of our
Zodiac
two-parter. Yeah,
Academy
Hooves and
and
Horoscopes, the second part. So be us wrapping up our books. Before we get into that, though, we talk about what's been happening. We had New Year's. Also, before New Year's, we saw Nosferatu. It was very good.
yep,
If
vampires.
if you like, I forget his first name. I know his last name is Eggers, but he did The Witch and
He did The Lighthouse.
The Lighthouse, which I like both those. I
Lots
wasn't
of
super big on The Witch the first time I saw it because I remember it was so played up like this is the scariest movie ever made. And I saw it and I was
yeah,
like, this isn't.
yeah,
It's very like he's very good at like dread and
yep,
suspense,
yep.
but I wouldn't say his movies are necessarily like scary.
No, I really like the way he
Um,
uses the grayscale, like in both The
yeah,
Lighthouse and The Witch and Nosferatu. There's lots of scenes where it's like all very stark contrast and gray, and it made me
yeah,
think
lots of
so
negative space
much.
too.
Yes, lots of beautiful like film work, but it really made me think of Salem's Lot because that's the kind of vampire like vibe that I had in my head, was just like this weird bald
Yeah, just gross and old
gross.
and yeah.
Yeah, but like the dark magic was what seduced
Yeah, he
her.
was very powerful though.
Yeah, the one Nosferatu. Yeah,
Yeah, and I mean, shout out to Bill Skarsgård because
the range.
he was it. I didn't know he was the
I didn't either.
Nosferatu, the vampire. Yeah, the
I think
voice
I
work
saw
he
that.
did was incredible.
I think I saw that in an interview,
Yeah.
like forever ago, that he was gonna be, but I just kind of forgot, and I had no clue in that moment of watching the movie.
I didn't either because the makeup you can't. I mean, I guess maybe the eyes looking back, but like
Who's the
couldn't really
guy
tell.
that was the professor, or the doctor that ended up being like, what's that actor's
His
name?
henchman.
No, the professor. No, he was like a doctor, but he was like deranged and old.
Yeah, the guy that he turned. That was like his little henchman.
Nope, the one that
I don't know.
What's that actor? He was the who you thought was gonna be Nosferatu. He didn't come up until like way later.
Oh, William Dafoe.
Yeah, William Dafoe is who I thought was Nosferatu because I
Yeah, he
saw on
comes
the
in like
commercial.
halfway through. Yeah, I
He's
figured,
got more of the face too.
Yeah, I thought I didn't. We said we were kind of getting off on a tangent, but I hadn't seen any like of the makeup, so I thought William Dafoe was just like because I'm kind of used to like what is her name, Agatha Christie, like Vampire Lestat, where they're just like
Yes.
kind of just basically look normal.
Yeah.
And I figured it'd be William Dafoe, just kind of like an older vampire. I didn't think it'd be like
With
this,
a
just
high
like,
collar and
because Nosferatu, he was like rotting.
yes,
You know,
it
it
was.
was just like really.
Oh my gosh!
grotesque.
At the end, we're totally spoiling things, but at the end when you see his
we don't
like
have to talk about the end.
legs are just his body. He like looks like a bird.
Cat on me.
Okay, we digress. Clearly, we're not just into books; we're also into film.
Yeah, if you like Robert Eggers,
It was
like
really
creepy
good.
movies. Yeah, I thought Nosferatu was great. The music was awesome.
Great acting, great film work.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Yeah, the
cinematography.
Another tangent. Johnny Depp's daughter plays the lead. She was great.
And I had looked that up forever ago, and I also forgot about that. She was fantastic.
Is it Lily Rose Depp?
Yeah.
Is that her name? Yeah.
It's Lily Rose Depp, yeah. And her face, her cheeks are so like perfect.
Yeah, she kind of looks like a Tim Burton character.
Yeah, I was looking at her mom was a model.
Yeah.
And she has like the same cheeks as her mother. With like that kind of like I don't know, her skin tone is very similar to her father's, where it's kind of sullen and
well, yeah, and she reminds me of like Jenna Ortega with that like doll face, or like.
But it was like it's
Helena
like a corpse-like kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Not in a mean way, like in a hot way.
Same with like Helena Bonham Carter, they just have, which is Bellatrix.
Yeah.
They just had that like really pointy chin and then like really exaggerated like cheekbones.
Such unique features and dark hair and just like the contrast of the skin. Love it. I love a witchy woman. Okay.
Okay, back to it.
Back to books. So this week was New Year's. We also obviously went to see the movie, but it was New Year's. Do you have any resolutions, Charlie?
Well, we have a Peloton. I fell off for 2 weeks, and it was to ride every day, but we did not ride on January 1st because
I fell off for a hot minute.
We stayed up till like 3 a.m. But I did today, so
Same.
I'm not counting the first. No, I'm kind of over resolutions. I don't know if I've ever.
Right. I think it's just like
it's always eat healthy, exercise more. And we've already been kind of doing that even before the New Year's.
Yeah.
Eating a little
I think
healthier
that
and
making it like a
getting back to working out.
part of our normal lifestyle is what's going to do it. Like, I think just making it the norm.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I would say read more, but like I'm
we're doing
reading at least a book a week or every 2 weeks.
I think my own personal goal is I would like to paint more consistently.
Paint more? Yeah. I guess I'd like to get a job.
Yeah. Well, you're working on it.
Yeah.
You're going to do schoolwork.
Fingers crossed. Yeah. Get a bunch of school done as well.
Yeah. We got our goals, you guys.
Yeah.
Hashtag.
I know last year I tried to do like positive happy vibes because normally it's just like I'm going to quit drinking. I'm trying to. I know one was I wanted to draw every day, and I think I did that for like a month. I fell off.
I loved that though. I got really excited when you were sketching every day.
Work.
I know. It doesn't have to be realistic.
I enjoyed it because it's like, okay, you're gonna take 20 minutes out of your day to like stop and just like do something creative.
I think that you got into journaling and like writing for a little while there. And
Cat's going crazy.
I know
they picked the perfect time to play. He was just sleeping and now he's chasing our other cat around.
He really doesn't do this, so it's funny to watch. Okay, but you got really into journaling and you were doing that pretty consistently, like putting down your thoughts in like a stream of conscious kind of way.
It kind of got, since I've been laid off, I just don't have a lot of like new stuff every day, so it's just like the same. So I think once I have like a better routine and like working, I can like get
maybe you could do like more aspirational kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, a vision board.
Yeah. That'd be cute. Get you some magazines and a poster board.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds awesome.
So obviously we're going to keep reading. We're going to keep venturing out of our comfort zone, but we also don't want to not read our personal TBRs. So we will be consistently
kind of bouncing back
and forth. So just be prepared for that. We're going to keep swapping. We've got a lot of really great swaps and some great buddy books coming up for the new year.
Yeah.
But we're also going to...
I think we're going to do like a little, I don't know, mini-sode or full episode. We kind of ramble, so it might be a full episode of just like what our plans for 2025 will be.
Yeah.
Maybe give like a little outline of the books we're picking.
And some of our past favorite things. We're going to go over all the things that we've done so far, and I'm so excited to play a couple of those games that we thought up. So,
yeah, and doing more videos.
Yeah.
I have to start doing that too.
It's stressful, like being on camera, but it's okay.
We'll get used to it. It's like, man, I was just setting up the camera. It's just like and you're like, oh, wow.
That was a lot of work.
That's what I look like, huh?
You look handsome.
And it's great because I said it in the car earlier. I'm like, people aren't really mean on Spotify, but like YouTube, the trolls are out there and they will definitely leave a comment. Like,
yeah, well, you know what, guys? We are doing our best. And if you want to be mean, don't, because we don't want to hear your meanness.
Yeah, take it somewhere else.
Okay, so let's get down to the nitty gritty. Are you ready?
I suppose.
Spoilers ahead. Beware. We are at the second half of the book where we will be discussing the endings.
Yeah, spoilers.
There's probably been spoilers on the last one too. I just forgot to say spoilers.
I don't really know if there was for me, but yeah, I mean, I'll definitely have spoiler like stuff. Second half of the book is like a lot happens.
Yeah. I know that I skipped a lot in the last book just because this is a huge book and like so much happens from chapter to chapter. So I digress. All right. So Charlie's reading
All the Pretty Horses by Cormac McCarthy.
Mm-hmm.
It won a bunch of awards. I think did it win a Pulitzer? I'm pretty sure he did. Kind of known as one of the great American novels. Really good. I was a little, I guess, kind of lukewarm on it at first just because I've heard so much about Cormac McCarthy.
Yeah.
His writing style is very weird, but it's very beautiful. I ended up loving the book. It's probably top 5, top 10 book for me now.
Yeah. Just because of like how you said it's just a really beautiful piece of writing.
Really beautiful. It's depressing, which, I like depressing movies.
I know.
I just like things that make you think about your own life and your own.
Yeah. When I was looking up some questions for you, it talked about like the themes with the synopsis I found. It talked about identity being a part of the key ideas of the book. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's always a good theme for a book. Self-discovery can always venture into like a beautiful, hopefully
Well,
beautiful endings, but I
well,
don't
yeah,
know.
and Cormac, I mean, just because I love No Country for Old Men, and he has a running theme of just like
Being brutal.
brutal and death, and
Yeah.
life doesn't really wait for you. Like if you're standing still, if you're the old, the new's always coming. You
Yeah.
know, it's kind of that
Okay.
always pushing forward.
So did you like the ending? Was it as
Yeah, I thought the ending was good.
okay, good.
I enjoyed it. I mean, I didn't think that's how it would end, but
Yeah. Okay,
I
well,
mean, we can get into that.
let's yeah.
Yeah, after kind of do a little recap. So, um, on a couple more funny 1-star reviews. Karen said, "Westerns don't appear to be my thing." Like, all right. I wonder if she finished the whole book. It is very Western. I don't know. It is the Border trilogy. I don't know if I'll like my next book will be the second one.
Have you ever read a Western before this?
No, but my family's favorite book is Lonesome Dove, which I hear is also incredible.
Yeah.
So I'll probably read that at some point.
We're
It's
gonna
very
have
thick.
to.
It's like 1,000 pages. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, I'll probably do a different Cormac McCarthy book for my next one. I don't know if I'll continue the trilogy. I might come back to it because I don't know if they're connected,
Mm-hmm.
but it seems like at least for now, John's story is kind of ended.
Yeah.
So, Budushi, I don't know how you say that name.
Budushi.
Budushi, seems like a bad word. Horse girl core, except as a 6-year-old boy running off into the sunset to feed his delusions. And yes, I had to read this for class.
So she was forced to read it.
Horse girl core, what is that?
You don't know what that is? Okay, so we
Is
watch
that like
Bob's Burgers. You know how Tina is like obsessed with
yeah,
like with horses? It's like a girly little
yeah,
girl thing.
yeah.
Like when I was little, I was obsessed with the Saddle Club, which is a TV show from Britain.
Wow.
So yeah, horse girl core, but like for grown-ups, for grown men. You're
Yeah,
welcome.
I mean, and I do understand that. I know he's a very masculine writer, and I think they call him like a dude bro like author.
Ew,
Um,
gross.
yeah, I mean, he won a Pulitzer. I'm not saying that like any book that wins prizes is just like you should read it and it's great, but like this is a really good book. It talks, mortality and yeah, your identity, and I think just because it is a 6-year-old boy, like I think anyone could kind of find
I didn't get
themselves
that.
in the character.
I didn't get I know you probably said it, but when I was reading the synopsis again this morning,
Mhm.
I was like, "Oh God, he's 16."
Yeah, so
That's
last time he's
crazy.
16,
I
his
know you
friend
did.
Rollins was 17.
It went over my head.
Yeah.
I was thinking he was like in his early 20s. That's so young,
Yep.
and he just like left home.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, so
Yeah,
tell us about
and
the
I'll do the
synopsis.
synopsis. So, John Grady Cole, a young Texan who leaves his home after his grandfather's death to pursue a cowboy life in Mexico with his friend Lacey Rollins. They encounter danger, love, and a harsh reality as they navigate the changing landscape of the American West, ultimately facing loss and delusionment with their romanticized vision of the cowboy lifestyle. The novel explores themes of masculinity, fate, and the fading era of the traditional ranch life through John Grady's journey across the border. Yeah, and so the main character, it is kind of these cats this week. I swear, it's like they never bother me.
Lucille.
Now she's messing with my mic. The main character is John Grady. It's not necessarily first person. Okay, sorry everybody. She likes me the most.
She doesn't
So yeah,
sit with me usually.
yeah, she doesn't ever sit with me. Okay, John Grady is the main character, and it's I wouldn't really call it first person. It is through his eyes somewhat, but it's kind of like I said, it's almost like watching him in like a play as the main character, like a third person, I guess. Rollins is like his kind of companion. There's also Jimmy, Alejandra, although she's not in it too much, but it's kind of love interest. But yeah, and it's kind of after World War II. I don't think they're ever set like an absolute date, but I believe it's like mid to late 50s, basically.
Yeah.
And yeah, Texas and Mexico. And it's just John Grady. His grandfather dies. He can't work his ranch anymore because his mom's selling it.
Yep.
And yeah, him and Rollins just kind of have this romanticized idea of being cowboys, traveling to Mexico because they would just hear about the lifestyle down there, these big ranches, all these horses, and
yeah,
that's kind of what they set out to do, basically. And I think last week I kind of ended it where they both got taken by, like some, I don't know if they're like the army, but I guess like the police, basically.
Yeah.
And they basically get taken, and they get taken to this town, and Jimmy is in the cell, so they meet back up with Jimmy.
Yeah.
He's been roughed up quite a bit because he stole his horse back, but then he also wanted to get his gun back. So he found the guy that had his gun, he pulled it from his waist, and he shot this guy. And this guy was like a Mexican police officer. So yeah, a lot of trouble for Jimmy.
Yeah.
They think that John and Rollins are kind of a part of it, so they're questioning them.
Well, because they traveled into Mexico.
Yeah, they
with
kind of saw them all
Jimmy.
together. It's like 3 Americans came and stole a horse. That's kind of how it went.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so then they finally go to prison. On the way, the police officer's brother kind of paid the police to kill Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
So on the way, they shoot and kill Jimmy, which is really sad.
Because he was only like 13, right?
Yeah, he was very young, and he was just kind of all messed up, and that's kind of something that kind of haunts Rollins throughout the book, because he's like, oh, I didn't say anything or try to help, and these characters like, but it wouldn't have done anything, and he's like, yeah, but it's still not right, like I could have tried to do something.
Well, we can talk about this in a little bit, but do you think that, I mean, that kind of goes into like this whole romanticizing this like cowboy lifestyle, but then immediately one of them is like shot for being, too, like he steals his own horse back, right?
Yep.
But then he shoots somebody that took his gun.
Yep.
And because of that act, this like whole like thing,
chain
like
of events,
this
basically.
chain of events where it's like reality harshly hitting them in the face,
Yeah. And then so then they continue into prison, Rollins and John, and at prison they're basically just like attacked daily.
Yikes.
What they call him, like the head honcho or something, he kind of has like his own like cell with like a kitchen and stuff, and he kind of likes John and Rollins, and he tries to help them with like money, but they're like, we're poor, we don't have money, so like there's no point in talking to you, like you can't help us. But he still kind of takes a shine to them. Anyway, Rollins gets attacked and like cut really badly, so he gets taken to the infirmary. John is still there for days by himself, doesn't know if he's alive or dead. And then finally John gets attacked, but luckily he bought a knife. He gets attacked and he ends up killing this guy that attacked him.
Yeah.
And that's kind of another thing that haunts him as well. He's just like, I didn't know this guy's name. I don't know if he was good or bad. I kind of ended up better than he did, basically.
Yeah.
Which again, it's like this whole romanticized thing, now he's killing people, because this whole time he's kind of been like, I've never done anything bad in my whole life, and now he had to kill this guy in a knife fight in a Mexican prison.
Yeah, so like this total loss of innocence is happening.
Yeah, exactly. After that, they kind of just set him loose. They're just like, we don't want to see you anymore. And he finds out that it was Alejandro's aunt.
I was about to say, did he get
paid for their bail and to just let him out?
Is that so? Let's get to the questions.
Well, yeah, but I just kind of want to finish the.
Oh, sorry.
Rundown. Yeah, so they get out. Rollins is like, I'm done. I'm going back home.
Yeah.
They left him like an envelope of like 900 pesos, which I think is like $150 US.
Yeah.
So they split it. They get a hotel, eat. Rollins goes back to.
Wait, who gives them pesos? The prison?
No, the aunt.
Oh, okay.
Or the grandmother.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Sent him home, and he's like, well, I'm going to go back. Like, I have to go back and see what's up. I'm going back to the ranch, So he goes back and he finds out that basically Alejandra told her dad. Her dad wanted to kill him, but her dad basically set him up and got him arrested. And the aunt was just like, yeah, like, you lied to us. You're no good. You stole those horses. Like, I paid for you to get out of prison, but that's it. Like, I told Alejandra that you can never see each other again. It's like, you're done. And then she kind of tells this whole story of her growing up poor and all this other stuff, and her, husband being murdered because of the Mexican Revolution. And so he's like, no, I'm going to see her. Like, this will all work out. He meets her. They kind of have this like great day together. And in the end, she's just like, look, I love you, but I'm leaving. I can't.
This is Alejandra?
Yeah. She's like, I can't. This isn't
going to, I can't sacrifice work. My life.
Yeah, this isn't. So he leaves, and then John is just kind of like, fuck it. He's like, I'm getting my horses back. So he goes and he gets Jimmy's horse. He gets Rollins' horse, and kind of finds the captain that sent them to prison. They go on this just like wild kind of goose chase through the desert because now people are hunting them, and he gets shot in the leg when he steals
these were their horses
and,
from the beginning?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they just give them back?
I mean, because they don't know that. So they do this whole thing. The captain ends up not even being a captain. He's just like some fake cop.
Mm-hmm.
And these 3 guys in the desert just like take him off of John. And then John makes it back to Mexico with all the horses. And you kind of find out that because the whole time they thought that Jimmy had just like stolen this like beautiful horse.
Yeah.
So he rides up and down like the Texas like border, like stopping at ranches, stopping at mills to like give this horse back. And it ended up just being Jimmy. Like everyone's like, it's not yours, you know? Mm-hmm. And then he finds this judge. The judge talks to him, and then he ends up telling this whole crazy story. The judge is like, you can just keep the horse, you know? And they kind of had a long conversation just about right and wrong at the end of the book and all stuff. And then finally John comes back to his hometown, meets Roland, gives him his horse back. And then the book just kind of ends. He attends a funeral for this caretaker he had when he was a kid who had died while he was gone. And then it just kind of ends with him like not really knowing where to be or where to go or a place, and he just kind of rides off
into the sunset.
Yeah, basically.
Is he back home?
He's back home, but he doesn't stay there. Like the book kind of ends where he's just like, he doesn't.
So he's just
seems like he doesn't have an identity because he was, he still talks about loves the horse and loves the land, but now everything is so different and so jaded from this like journey that he had.
Yeah.
It's like he doesn't really know where he belongs because he doesn't want to. I think he's,
So there wasn't a resolution. It just like actually like totally like unwound his thoughts on like his dreams.
Yeah, it basically started back where he began,
but took away all of the hope and jaded is a great word. That's so depressing. Ugh. I'm glad you like it, and I'm sure I'm gonna have to read this at some point.
No, I won't make. I mean, I just told you. I don't have to read it.
Well, I'll probably forget.
I don't know if you would like it.
Yeah, I mean, you know how, like, I know that some of those are achingly beautiful, like books like that, and like movies that we've watched that are so sad, and it's gorgeous sometimes, but then other times I'm just like, now I'm just like heartbroken. Do you feel sad?
Yeah, it was pretty sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You sound. I had no idea you were sad earlier.
Yeah, I mean, I said it's a sad book.
He's heartless, you guys. Cutthroat. Yeah. Okay, so I can't wait to ask you these questions. Are you ready?
Yep.
In the world of the novel, what would you say the role of fate is? What makes you say so?
Yeah, so I mean, fate is basically the entire book.
You think it's like the whole premise?
I mean, in a sense, I don't know if it's the whole premise, but it's like, fate had them cross paths with Jimmy. Like if they had left 2 days later, 2 days before, they would have never met him.
Yeah.
And that kind of put them on this whole crash course, and then same with getting into Mexico. If they had gone a different way, they wouldn't have ended up on the ranch, and then he wouldn't have met Alejandra. And
do you think that if he wouldn't have fallen for Alejandra, then
I think it would have been fine because the aunt or the grandmother, I keep saying the aunt, the grandmother found out about them somehow, like they were, having sex and stuff. And she found out, and she's like, I'm going to tell your dad. And Alejandra's like, well, I didn't want her to have power over me, so I just told him. And John's like, why did you do that?
Yeah.
Because that, like we could have, like, worked something out, know?
Yeah.
And that's kind of why the dad got so pissed. And then,
yeah.
Which is weird because they were, like, up in the high country, like, with the mares they were bringing down. Because they would, like, go get the wild mares, bring them down to, like, break them and, like, sell them.
Mm-hmm.
And like a pack of like greyhounds just like comes in their campsite, which was like the owner's like dogs.
Yeah.
And they're both just like, what the hell? Like this, why are they way up here? Like we're like miles from home, like in the high country. And then you find out later, like he left with the dogs to basically kill John. But I don't know why he didn't. It doesn't say that.
Yeah. Maybe did they see that he was there?
I don't know, but the dogs came in and like circled the campfire. Like the dogs are there. So you'd think that
and maybe it was just
he
like
wasn't far behind.
A little bit of foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Like Okay, now like you didn't know at the time that he wanted to kill him.
Yeah.
And now you do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so do you think that John Grady Cole could get religion after the end of the novel? Why or why not? So does he not get religion?
I don't think so. I mean, it's brought up a few times if they like, I think he's kind of like on the fence with religion. I think if I remember right, I'm pretty sure Rollins is more into religion than he is, but I think at the end, no, it's like, I don't know how you could. I would, if I was John, I would be so, just kind of lost. Like I said, his innocence is gone. His sense of wonder in the world is gone. It's just like this, Mexico trip has totally
Didn't he
changed
go?
him, left him feeling alone in the
Didn't he
world.
go feeling alone though? He like ventured
No, he
out.
kind of more went to find a place. The first half of the book is almost kind of like Stand By Me.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're having fun, on this like fun camping trip, and then they get to the dead body. And then the whole trip back, I think they said they don't like talk, they don't do anything.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same thing. It's like once you get to that point and these things happen, it's like, okay, well, everything I thought that this was going to be, it's not.
Yeah.
And I've had this insane journey that's, I've killed people.
Yeah.
All that
So
stuff.
what happened at the beginning of the book? Didn't he wanted the farm after his father passed away, but his mom's still there, isn't she?
No, the mom sold the farm.
But where is she?
I don't know. He doesn't go back to see her when he comes back. So.
Okay. See. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. So that answers my question. All right. So he's just super jaded and lost. He ended the book more lost. I like the analogy of Stand By Me because I totally get that. Okay.
Yeah.
The novel and its characters portray the United States and Mexico as having very different cultures in the mid-20th century. What do you think about how they are represented?
Yeah, so Mexico still kind of has this this rugged wildness to it that America doesn't. It's almost 1960. There's probably not really actual cowboys there, whereas down in Mexico, it's like there's just people just wandering.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So real cowboys, it's still very much like that. And I mentioned it last week, this kind of juxtaposition of like the new world pushing out the old world, which again is kind of a theme in a lot of McCarthy's novels, is kind of change or get left behind.
Yeah.
And this is what I was going to read. John talks about at the end. I thought it was very good. So this is second to last page. And this is him after his, he goes to a funeral when he gets back. Like I said, this woman that took care of him, he calls her his abuela, like took care of almost his whole family, has passed on. Yeah. He stood hat in hand over the unmarked earth, this woman who had worked for his family for 50 years. She had cared for his mother as a baby, she had worked for his family long before his mother was born, and she had known and cared for the wild Grady boys who were his mother's uncles and who had all died so long ago. And he stood holding his hat, and he called her his abuela, and he said goodbye to her in Spanish, and then turned and put on his hat and turned his wet face to the wind, and for a moment he held out his hand as if to steady himself or as if to bless the ground there, or perhaps as if to show the world that was rushing away and seemed to care nothing for the old or the young, or rich or poor, or dark or pale, or he or she, nothing for their struggles, nothing for their names, nothing for the living or the dead.
That's really beautiful. I think that's like that I don't know, perspective of one person working in like a family like that. I mean, that doesn't really happen very often anymore. I know of somebody that has like a nanny like that was like that for them, but like where like it was just somebody that's always like worked in their family, like if it's like somebody that's just helps around the house or cooks, but that doesn't really happen anymore. So it kind of goes back into that old I don't know, that old timey feeling of just like the old ways, Yeah. But gosh, that's sad. So another part of his past is now gone. Now is the ending. Basically,
yeah. I mean, that's the page before the ending, and then he kind of just leaves after the funeral.
Well, hopefully his life gets better. Jeez.
I think I looked. I think he comes back in the third book.
Okay. After, I mean, oh no, it's a series. You said that.
It's a trilogy. No, battery again. We can grab it. It's in my backpack, and I'll keep talking.
What's the novel's view on young love?
So it's okay as long as your father isn't the richest person in the country.
Yeah, what a dummy.
yeah, it was sad to see Alejandro leave. I kind of thought for a moment, and then I'm like,
You're like,
no,
it might
like
work.
everyone, like Cormac McCarthy is known for being like very not like that. So I was
But
like, no,
John
she
knew.
can't stay.
John knew that she
I think
was
that was kind of one of the last bits of John that was still like
young
holding
and
on to like young and innocent. Like, no, I love her. She loves me. Like, obviously, we're gonna,
like, that's it. That's
yeah.
enough.
And yeah, no. So she ends up leaving. They have like I think a day or 2 days together, and I think no, it's just a day. And then yeah, she kind of goes on the train, and that's it. She never see her again.
Hmm.
At least in that book. I mean, maybe
So
she comes
she
back.
left the ranch to go live somewhere else.
She lives in Mexico City with her mom. So she was going back to the ranch,
Oh,
and
she
he
was
called
just
her.
visiting.
Yeah, he called her, and she was like, "Oh, I'll leave a day early, and we can meet in this town."
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
you think that the novel's view on young love is just that it's like innocent and
yeah,
unrealistic?
yeah, I guess kind of childish.
Yeah. Oh, it's so sad. I mean, I can get that a little bit. Like sometimes you get swept up in just being in love,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also just like the idea that it's not a thing is, I mean, that's not true.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully I'm hoping that there's more hope for him in the future. You'll have to keep me posted.
I will.
All right, why does John and Alejandro's relationship turn out the way it does? Could it have been different? Why or why not?
No, again, I don't think so. John was just kind of a dirt poor ranch hand kid. Had the cards kind of stacked against him from the onset, you know.
Yeah.
Alejandra knew her place in the world, and John was still, like I said, kind of holding on to that innocence. Like all you need is love.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases, you do.
Yeah.
But like, especially back then, when you're the richest person in a country and as just like a dirty ranch hand who makes like 200 pesos a month, it's like it's not.
Well, you say she knew her place, but did she? Because her grandma told her that, you know, if she did that with him, that it would affect her more than it would affect any man, you know? So I feel like maybe she got swept up too.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Yeah. But then whenever reality of, you know, not pleasing her family and possibly not, I mean, I don't know the story, but
yeah,
I feel like the kind of situation where there was an opportunity for her to maybe not get her inheritance and all the things. I'm sure
I don't know if it was that. I didn't really mention that, but yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. But
yeah,
I mean, there's another quote in there. I don't remember who said it to him, but it was basically on lines like adults hide the troubles of the world from children because if they didn't, children wouldn't want to grow up.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, that kind of is almost the whole.
That's a really good.
The whole book, you know?
Yeah, it really is in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Like, reality is hard. Like, being a grown up is hard. But the idea of being a grown up is so fantastical. You're like, I can make my own choices and do whatever I want.
Do whatever I want every single day.
But really, life makes it hard for you to do whatever you want, you know?
Yeah.
It's not realistic. So what would your rating be of this book? You said it's on your top 10. How many stars?
I'd probably say a 4.5.
Nice. That's awesome.
I enjoyed it.
Well, I'm really happy.
Definitely read more, except beside the page like 100, like 120. Like breaking
you might
horses.
skip that, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. And apparently there's like a movie from like 2000 with Matt Damon. Oh. It's supposed to be really bad.
Yeah.
That sucks because I wanted to watch it. But
we could still watch
everyone
it.
in the comments was like, John Gray's supposed to be 16, not 40. And it's just like Matt Damon is like an old, like he does not look 16. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they have Jimmy Blevins, and the kid who plays Jimmy is I don't know. The only thing I know him from is Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, like the country guy.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
He's Jimmy, and it's like that should have been John because he looks like 16. You know?
Yeah. So. Okay. Well, even though it's rated badly.
Well, and Penelope Cruz is the love interest, and she's like beautiful, you know, prettiest woman alive.
Really, very, gorgeous. Very, very pretty.
But yeah, she looks like 25 or 30. It's like, this is not.
Yeah, y'all are wrong on the ages. Wrong.
And it was the 2000s. Yeah. They should do like a little mini series. I think it'd be really good.
Okay. Well, I think that we should still check out the movie. I don't mind watching a bad movie. I know you have a hard time if it gets a bad rating.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Can you scroll up for me, please? Just a touch, or am I?
It just says
Okay.
Jenni's read.
So I read the Zodiac Academy Awakening. And last week I talked about how I was kind of on the fence because there was a lot of moments where it was kind of annoying. I got really sucked into the drama. I am realizing that now.
I'm sure here for it.
I guess I am. It's like felt like watching like a trashy reality show. At a certain point, I was like, "Oh my god, what happens next?" So okay, so Zainab wrote a review, and now it's not the best review, but she gave it 4 stars, and I'll tell you why. Why do I have such terrible taste in men? I've never related to anything this bad. So that's a quote from one of the twins, Tori. And she wrote, I love this book. Hello, take all my money.
It's like all caps.
It made me feel emotions that I never knew existed. To all my girlies that recommended this, I love you, but God, this was painful. I don't like bully romance, but I feel like it would be so unfair to give this a lower rating because it's listed as a bully romance. It's like if you went to a bar and imagine going to a bar and saying, why is there so much alcohol? Does say Jesus.
Well, it's just like I think there's one period in the entire paragraph.
It was kind of hard to read.
It's all in caps.
I skipped.
Like, goodness.
I like the crying emoji and the skull emoji. So she doesn't like it, but she likes it. I've never heard of a bully romance before, but I mean, it makes sense. Either. And yeah. Okay. So the synopsis is in The Awakening, the first book of the Zodiac Academy series, twin sisters Darcy and Tori Vega discover their Fae heritage and are abruptly sent to the magical Zodiac Academy, where they must navigate a world of powerful supernatural beings, complex social hierarchies, and dangerous rivalries while learning to control their unique elemental abilities, all while facing threats from the 4 celestial heirs who view them as a threat to their power and throne. So the key points about the plot, there's twin power. So Darcy and Tori are Gemini twins, making them rare changelings with the potential to wield all 4 elements, air, fire, water, and earth, which sets them apart and makes them targets. Don't you love this?
No.
I mean, like, it's a really intense world.
So lame.
Don't be mean. Yours sounded so depressing, so I'll take my lame.
I'll take depressing over lame any day.
I mean, yeah, yours is like a literary like masterpiece, and mine is like really comfortable junk food and like a nice cozy sweater. I love it.
Junk food.
Okay,
cozy
get
sweater.
back to it. Okay, so the force. Oh, I already talked about the heirs. They're all super stupid hot, but they're all mean.
I'm sure the twins are super stupid hot as well.
Sure, obviously.
You can't have Ogos liking each
other. You can have
unconventional.
Okay, so there's been
unconventional.
There's been a lot of. I mean, they're not ugly. Obviously, they're not ugly, but there's been like unconventional like body types and stuff. Okay. So this one is not one of those. Of course, they're hot. All right. So, anyways, as Darcy and Tori delve deeper into the Fae heritage, they uncover secrets about their past and their true potential. So basically, since the last time I talked to you about this book, they went out for drinks. They got chased by a dark shadow, which I think is a nymph. I'm going to go into more detail because a lot of the questions that I wrote direct it through everything that I read. But basically, the heirs kind of were being nice at a certain point, and I was like, ooh, they're hot, and they like are kind of being nicer. Maybe the twins have like won them over somehow. And then the very end, they were huge pricks. So like I hated them. I'll tell you all about it.
Oh, can't wait.
Okay, go ahead.
We on to the questions?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Strap in. Both twins are incredibly powerful, but have their differences and individual characteristics. Which of the 2 twins is your favorite?
All right, so Tori's my favorite twin. She has more grit and fire in her character. Darcy's also super powerful, but she's a little more like flowery.
Like a girly girl?
Well, yeah, it's just the fact that she isn't. She's just a little bit weaker of the two, as far not like power wise, but like
Yeah, I know what you mean.
characteristics.
Yeah.
Like she's more likely to not bite back, whereas Tori, like if she's pissed off, she's gonna say something. And I really like a female lead that's kind of like ballsy and you know.
Okay.
So she is. I don't think the story would be the same if they didn't have each other. I really love that the twins kind of are like lead characters together. I haven't read a book with two female leads that are twins, so I thought that was cool. Yeah. So Tori's my favorite.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Tori's the one.
Well, no, I think there was a book about it's like a British book where there's twin murderers,
Ooh, I like
or like
that.
psychopaths or something. I remember.
Oh,
I think it's a Tom Hardy movie. I think it was a book.
I don't know.
Maybe not them. What has been your most favorite part of the second half of this book?
Okay. I think it's pretty obvious that the heirs are bad news. They're brutal, cruel, and bullies. Like apparently it's like a whole part of the genre. It's a bully romance. But I'm realizing that that's the way of the Fae. I talked about it last week, how they are
Just doesn't make like I know like flirting you can kind of
like
they kind of mean, but this is like
it's like a power struggle.
This is like way past that.
No, but it's like
so
it's
bizarre.
like a. I mean,
People
it's
are into this.
Don't shame people's. Don't yuck somebody's yum. Don't shame people's kinks.
Okay.
I wouldn't call this a kink, but I mean, it's like whenever somebody's like I don't know, into some. I can't.
It's fine. We get it, Jenny. You're into it. Favorite part?
No, I don't like assholes. If somebody was mean to me, I would be like, not going to talk to you.
There's a difference being mean, but like.
But I'm just
sucking
saying,
someone's blood and holding other sister like down against the wall, like
that was like the very first day too.
I know,
think
but still, that goes past like bullying. That's like
no, and it's not. I'm with you,
stuff,
Charlie. I know. I'm just saying that, like in this world, cruelty and brutality are like a show of power and status. Yeah. So. I mean, I'm not saying I like it.
I get that, but that's the same with Fourth Wing. Like,
yeah, but they're murdering people.
I know, but like that is a sign. But there's also a common like ground almost. Like you can only kill each other in these scenarios.
Yeah, but they're also really brutal and
not just like, hey, any time of day you can just fucking do whatever you want because the teachers don't care.
I mean, yeah,
it's just kind of weird. That's all.
Yeah, I agree.
Sorry.
Well, they're also like royalty. Like those guys are like, even though they're in school. Like they're still technically like the next in line.
Sound like grade A dickheads.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So as I was saying.
Favorite part.
There's a scene with Darius. He's the guy that's in charge of like the firehouse or whatever. Not firefighter. No. He is in control of the element of fire. When Tori confronts him after he's supposed to tutor her on like controlling her fire magic. And he was told to do this by their fire professor because he's the only one that's strong enough to like control and like help guide it. She goes to his room where he's sprawled on the bed amongst a pile of like treasure.
Naked.
He's like shirtless.
Ooh, he's like Scrooge McDuck in it. Rolling around in his
That's not why
coins.
It's my favorite part, but like I'm not gonna lie, I was like, ooh. First time we've seen an heir's bedroom. Okay. She jokingly asks, she's like, are you some sort of like pyre? Jesus, I can't talk. Are you some sort of pirate order? And like she made this whole stupid joke about pirates. But can you guess what he is? He's laying on a pile of gold.
Merman?
No.
A siren.
What likes gold?
Oh, a leprechaun.
No, that would be so funny.
They were just gold.
What lore? Okay, think of not Game of Thrones, but think of The Hobbit and the. Okay, he is a dragon. Jesus.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like I was like, oh, that's cute. I immediately I already knew because the back of the book says he's a dragon, but it hasn't revealed what he is to the twins yet. So she finds out that he's a dragon and a dragon shifter, and that's how he recharges his magic. So each order has like a
He's
different
laying in
way.
gold.
Well, he's like got to be a monk. He's basking in it. But yes,
Okay.
he's like laying on his bed with like
Yeah.
jewels
I
and
get
gold
it.
pieces.
Okay.
So I really liked the use of like the dragon lore, and like how dragons are obsessed with gold. And he gets naked in front of her and jumps out of the window and shifts into a dragon and just like flies away.
Okay. What does his naked dragon penis look like? Is it scaly?
It was huge and like covered in spikes. Just
Really?
kidding.
Oh.
No, it
Okay.
didn't describe it. She just like looked away and she like
What a
called.
missed opportunity.
She did call it. She called it. She said, "Why do you got to give me some warning if you're gonna if you're gonna whip out your tiny penis?" She said that to him, and he thought it was funny.
Nice.
Yeah, actually, that's like where my
Classic.
quote was from, but I decided I was gonna read it. But yeah, basically, she said he had a tiny dick, and I thought that's hilarious.
Got him.
But I doubt it.
Right.
Definitely
Of course
doesn't.
not. Hot guy in a book? No way.
No. Okay.
What about your least favorite part?
All right. So it made me change my mind on my answer last week about what power I'd like, because I no longer want to be a siren. But don't ask me what I want to be, because I don't know. So the siren,
obviously.
a leprechaun, yes.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, right. I don't
rainbows and pots of gold and shit.
Yeah, there's one character in here. There's an order where they can turn into like Pegasus, so like they look like unicorns with like wings, and they're like bright pink, and like there's like, I mean, that one's pretty cute, but I don't know if I want to be a flying horse. I don't know. I think I'd like to be half human, half like, you know, something where like I can be beautiful
like
and
a
like
frog.
No, that's a whole nother
like
creature.
Frog body girl head.
Ribbit. All right. So when the heirs pretended to be nice, at the end of the book, Siren Max used his power to reveal their deepest fears. Tori's she's scared of water because she survived a car accident where her ex-boyfriend like crashed into a lake and she almost drowned.
Mm-hmm.
So that's her fear. And then Darcy's is trusting someone new with her heart, which I thought that part was a little like
lame,
just a touch.
Yeah.
So that's why her hair is
Cliché.
dyed blue, is because like she was dating this guy for 3 months. They had sex for the first time and he broke up with her like the next day. And she like scraped her knees because she was like running away crying. I don't know. I'm just joking. It doesn't say that part, but she like fell down because she's clumsy.
Okay. It's more funny the other way.
And when she was like all depressed, her knees were all bruised and blue. And to never forget the pain, she dyed her hair and it's blue.
Why not just like paint a fingernail blue or something?
Because that'll so chip off so easily. No, she never wanted to forget.
You just paint it back.
Okay.
You got to keep dyeing your hair.
No, it's on the ends. It'll just grow long and the ends will be blue. I mean, in this world, she doesn't get haircuts. Be quiet. Stop. Okay, so after they both told Max this, and he like sucked it up because that's how he like gets his powers.
An energy vampire.
Yeah, it's freaking
like Colin Robinson.
Yes, it's totally. If y'all don't understand that reference, we're sorry.
Yeah. Quit watching this. No, don't. It's from What We Do in the Shadows, but you should watch that show. Anyway, continue.
Okay. So basically, scroll back up because you skipped to the part. Okay. So after they tell him the fears or whatever, both like all of the different heirs have been like kind of like buddying up with them, like trying to make them feel all secure and like they're not trying to get them anymore.
Typical dude move.
Mm-hmm. So Seth the werewolf has been like kind of flirty with Darcy and like, you can trust me and I'm sorry, let me make it up to you. So he seduces Darcy after this dance and they like make out. And while they're like kissing on this bench, he like slices her bun, like all of her hair. He just like cuts it off. which is kind of like
Super
going
chill.
back to that very first scene whenever they like had to pass these tests, and he like held her up at the very beginning, at the very top of the building of air, and was like, you can either cut your hair off or you can jump. And she decided to jump and like saved herself with her power of air. Anyways, so she's like completely like, her hair is fucked up. And then after
Kinda got,
that,
like a little bowl cut going on.
she hears the scream from like the direction of like the swimming pools. And she like runs and sees that her sister Tori is being coerced to climb to the very top of the like diving board and jump. And two of the heirs are like fucking with the water, and so she jumps in, and she can't, she's like freaked out. She gets out, or like she swims, and then they like ice over where she's trying to, you know, submerge, and she almost drowns. And then Orion dives in and saves her. But I just like, I was really hoping that like when she jumped from the diving board, that she would like grow her wings or whatever the fuck her power is. I was just like, when is their power gonna come out?
Yeah.
But there's like 6 books. So I'm probably not gonna find out for a while. And I was just like, these authors, man.
Gotta milk it.
They really were.
Gotta get that sweet, sweet.
And
butter.
I got so hooked towards the end because of all the dumb drama and bullshit. Yeah, but that was my least favorite. That was my least favorite part.
Okay. There have been 2 attacks at and around the academy. The nymphs are suspected to be behind it. Do you think they are to blame, or do you think that the heirs are secretly behind it?
Okay, so I think that the nymphs are behind it, but I think that there's an heir helping them. I think that after that first attack on Geraldine, so when they went out dancing that very first night with the 4 guys, like before they met up with them by accident, like ended up getting really drunk and dancing with all of the hot heirs, which I thought that part was a little stupid. They keep going back and forth between hating them and seeing them and them being all over them, you know?
Yeah.
All right, so there was a part where they were trying to meet up with this person that had been like messaging them saying that they had like information. And so they went into this alleyway and they got really freaked out, and this person messaged them as soon as they got to the meeting point. It was like, there's shadows, you know, this is, I'm sorry, but this isn't actually a good time to meet. We're like in danger of being, you know, found out. So they're in this alley, and this shadow is like looming, and they feel like it's now a trap, you know, and they almost get attacked by this like super creepy, ominous thing, but they don't ever see it. It's just like they hear this like weird noise. So that's definitely like a nymph, I'm assuming. Or
Voldemort.
Or yeah. Oh my god. No, it's not Voldemort. Okay.
Tom Riddle.
So Geraldine is like the president of the society. Can you scroll up just a touch? It's the Almighty Sovereign Society, or the ASS, which that's just like an excessive joke of
hilarious.
It's so funny. They call themselves asses willingly. Okay, so they are supportive of Darcy and Tori's return. She was attacked the same night that they were all drinking, right after they got that note. The other attack was on one of the professors, Astrum, the astrology professor, who was the person sending the messages as Falling Star. So he was Falling Star. So he was the person warning them. What?
That's just a dumb code name.
I know.
Falling Star.
I know. Well, and Astrum, he was the astrology professor, and I was like, oh gosh. Course, yeah. All right, so he was the person sending them messages, and basically he wanted to let them know that Darius and Orion were being suspicious, and he thinks that they're involved in the murder of their mom and dad, like the king and queen. So I think that Darius, the dragon shifter guy, one of the heirs, I think that his father is working with the nymphs to keep control. And I think that I definitely think it's the nymphs, but I think that there's like people on the inside. And that'll go into the next one, I think.
Okay. Wait, so you said you were on the fence
Go.
last week.
Go back. You missed a question.
Oh, what clues have you uncovered? Who do you suspect?
I suspect Diego, one of their friends, not an heir. Diego is one of their friends, and basically, he's this guy who's kind of like quiet. He doesn't have a whole lot of powers, but he's been saying like these suspicious things. So he wears a beanie, and at first I thought it was like play on the turban from the Sorcerer's Stone, like Professor Quirrell.
Mm-hmm.
But then he took his beanie off and he just had like luscious hair.
He's bald.
No, I was for real like he's got a person in the back of his head.
Yeah,
This is
male
like an
pattern
H.
baldness. It's the only
But he's been giving me like super, I don't know, just sketchy, like suspicious vibes. And he made this comment like, okay, so he bought the girls shots the night that they all got like had drinks, you know? And Sophia, their other friend, who's just kind of a side character, Diego and Sophia are like their friends, the only two that they really have. And Sophia took like all 4 of the shots and she was like, it's fine, I can handle my like drink. And immediately after that, she was super fucked up because she just took 4 shots. But later, like, I don't know, a couple chapters later, they were like kind of poking fun at her, like, oh, are you sure you can handle it? And she was like, no, I usually am fine. And she was just like, it was that was really weird. And Diego was just like, no, y'all stop messing with her, you know? So I was like, did Diego like try and drug the girls?
Diego.
And then like there was like that incident with Geraldine, like I'm sure that was supposed to be them, you know? I think that Diego is sus.
Okay. What's your rating? Will you be reading the next book?
Okay.
Possibly the next 5.
It went up. I was gonna give this a 2.5. But it's like a little addictive. It's kind of fun and a little stupid and like it just feels like trash TV a little bit. I like it. I like it a lot. So I'm gonna give it a 3, and I will be listening to the next book in between the read that you pick for me. Just as like a fun little like side piece.
Oh, and the read that I will be picking for you is The Institute.
Oh gosh.
If you're listening, I pointed. Dramatic effect.
Drum roll.
Yeah, so I picked The Institute for Jenni, another Stephen King book, but I think she'll like this one. I've read it. I liked it a lot. It is, I guess I wouldn't call it magical realism, maybe.
Yeah.
Because it's like about like telepathic kids.
Is
and
it
it's set in
third
the modern
person?
day. No, it's kind of more about this like main character boy.
Okay.
Like it's not like through his eyes, really. At least I
Yeah.
don't think it is, but it's kind of just like.
So it's like from the perspective of like an outside.
Yeah, there's a lot less characters. There's like a core group of kids, one main kid. You know.
Yeah, I'm genuinely excited, but after reading my first after reading my first Stephen King, I'm just like a tiny bit nervous, especially because I think you mentioned that the ending of this book isn't your favorite.
It was all right. It's better than some of his other books.
No, but whenever we talked about this book, I was like, oh, it kind of makes me think of like another. I've read a couple where it's like a kid has powers and they like go off to this like, you know, institute or something like reminiscent. So I'm excited to see how it is if it doesn't have like romance.
I think there's one small scene.
Oh,
like he kind of has a crush on this girl, but
he's like
it's
12.
Like
gross. I was about to say, I hope not.
Like
I don't want
book.
I don't want all that.
No, it's not like sex or anything.
Good.
No,
really, I'm eager to jump in.
I think it's got a really good twist when you find that out.
Cool.
I told you a little bit about it, but you find that out in the very beginning. So,
I read it from the back of the book. Yeah. So cool.
It's very good.
Should I read that or should we wait?
Let's wait. We'll do it next week.
Okay. All right. And then Charlie is going to be doing book 2 of the Fourth Wing trilogy.
Yep, not a huge surprise because book 3 comes out at the end of the month. Oh my god, I can't wait.
I know. You got to get you queued up.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to see your reactions. And he is not reading. If you followed that first one, if you haven't listened to that episode where Charlie reviews Fourth Wing, it is fantastic. You should definitely give it a listen. But he has this whole thing I forgot about because he told me forever ago, where he reads the last chapter of
the last paragraph.
The last paragraph of the last page. And so he was totally not surprised by the ending. And I was so mad because that was a huge twist that you just like took from yourself. So he will not be doing that because Rebecca Yarros, I love you. You wait until the last chapter to drop so many bombs. So if you read the last chapter of the last page, it will ruin the book.
I don't read the last chapter. I read the last paragraph.
I know, but you know what I mean. Potato, potato. Well, it's not, but don't read the last paragraph.
You said not to.
Okay.
Is this book better than the first book?
I mean, you definitely get more information. So,
okay.
Yes and no. I mean, I think that the first book was super good and important to the world. I think that this book just gets better. You know?
Cool.
Some things happen, some twist, and there's some sad things and some good things. And
nice.
I can't wait.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think that'll do it for this episode. I think we are going to try to work in some more like episodes where we aren't really rating books. Not to say we're like done with rating books, but just like a little bit of backstory, like some of our favorite characters, maybe a recap since it is the end of the year,
an
outline of the year to come, all that kind of fun stuff, just to kind of throw a little bit more stuff.
Maybe some fan theories of a series we're talking about.
Episode.
Yeah,
and I think we also talk about since Book 3 comes out the 21st, maybe trying to squeeze in like a recap episode of the first 2 books, some predictions, some theories.
Yeah, I'll be re-listening to Iron Flame. I already re-listened to Fourth Wing like a couple months back. So I'll be re-listening to this audiobook before we do the last, or not the last, but the next. Anyways.
All right.
Until next time. Check us out on Instagram at Not My Usual Read Podcast. Oh, nope, just kidding. At Not My Usual Read.
Yeah, no podcast then.
Yep.
And then, like I said, we haven't released a video yet. Hopefully, we're going to get into that this weekend. Start releasing some YouTube videos, chopping up these videos, doing some shorts, things like that. So
yeah.
But like I said, we will make a post of that on the gram when that's done. Until next week, we'll talk to you later.
Yeah, give us a like, give us a follow. Happy reading.
Yep. Tell your dad. Bye.
Bye.